Hey Excelers, in this video I'm going to show you how you can use the power of conditional formatting to check for error dates. So examples of error dates could be error dates with a dot, as you can see here, error dates with two consecutive slashes here, text dates. You can check for out of range dates like dates before the 1st of January 1900 or dates in the future for a custom date range that you can set. You can also check for error dates. So when you put an equal sign in front of a date, it becomes 0001 1900, and the conditional formatting can also check for those and highlight and locate it for you, and also check for impossible dates like 31st of April. Next, let's see how it's done. Let's first have a quick look at this collection of dates in column A. So I've expanded the width of column A so that it's more than the width of column of the date. So what we have here is a genuine date and they're all right aligned. Now if the date is right aligned, that means it's a correct date and it's also a non-text date. However, if the date is left aligned, that means the date is incorrect or it's a text date, both. And I've also got a value formula in column B that works out the value of the date. Now, if the date is genuine, then you're going to get a number. Now, with Excel's numbering, the date starts from 1st of January 1900, which represents 1. Then for each day that goes after that, you're getting a consecutive number. So these are numbers, which means that the date is genuine. And I've also got a is text formula, which checks to see if the whatever value is in the date cell is a text value or not. So let's introduce some, I'll come to column D afterwards. So let's introduce some invalid characters in these genuine dates to see what happens. So for example, this date here, let's put another slash, what happens. So when you do that, it's now left line, and Excel is treating it as a text, which is why you're getting true for column C, and the value function is now coming with a value error. Let's put a dot here. What happens? Similar to A5, you're getting a value error, and it's now being treated as text. Quotes, this one. Again, same as before. For this date here, let's put a date that's definitely incorrect in terms of the days. So with, for example, September, you have a maximum of 30 days, not 31. So let's put 31. You may get errors where someone's entering a date for September, and rather than putting 30th of September, they put 31st. What happens? Again, Excel is not recognizing that as a date because it's incorrect, and you're getting a value error, and it's also being treated as text. So that's what you're getting is text is true. So for column D, what's that doing is basically combining the formulas for column B and column C and wrapping it around an OR. So if the value in A2 is in error, then if that's true, or if it is text, or the value in A2 is true, then it's going to be either true or false. So in the case of cell A2, that's a genuine date, so that's false, and that's also false. So that means it's false. And the ones that are saying true are those where either this is true or that's true. So what we can do is we can take advantage of this formula, and then we can use that as part of the conditional formatting when using a formula, which we'll show you next. So now that we know how Excel treats invalid and incorrect dates, let's see how we can take advantage of that in Excel conditional formatting. So I've got a new collection of dates here in column A. Some of them are correct and some of them are incorrect. The incorrect ones have like two forward slashes, which are consecutive. It's got some dots, and you've also got text date. This text date here in particular looks like a correct date, but it's actually a text date. If I zoom in on the formula bar, you'll see that there's an apostrophe at the beginning of the date. That means it's now a text date. And if the column that contained the date was expanded, then you'll see that it's left aligned rather than right aligned. I've also got a formula in column B, and for that you got a value function check wrapped around the is error, and if that's true, then it puts the text return value date error. And the other part of the if formula is if it's a text, then it's true, then it puts text date, and if neither of these are true, then it says date okay. So as you can see here, This date's correct. This date, as we saw earlier, is text date. This is an error date as well because before 1900. This one's got two forward slashes. Some of them are dots, and some dates are impossible, like this one here, 31st of April. So steps to apply the conditional formatting is you highlight you select the first cell that contains date, not the header. If you do the header, if you start from the header, then the conditional formatting won't work correctly. So you highlight from the first data row from cell A2 and control shift down and then conditional formatting on the ribbon from the home tab and then new rule, use a formula and then use this formula. Same as before, exactly same as before we discussed earlier, but this time I've omitted the equals true at the end of these functions within the OR formula because it's optional. You don't need to have it, but I added it in when I explain invalid and correct dates just to help and aid your understanding. Click on format, and then we can choose format for the fill of brown, the background, and for the font we're going to choose bold and white. OK, and click on OK. So as you can see now, the conditional formatting is being correctly applied and it's highlighting the text dates and the date errors for you. In this next example, I'm going to show you how you can use the power of conditional formatting to check for and identify any dates are outside a custom range which you can specify. So the custom range I've specified is in this cell here. So the earliest date allowed is in cell F15, F12, and the latest date allowed is in cell F13. So in this case, it's 1st of January 2015 to 31st of December 2025. So any dates are in column A within this range of dates is correct. And if anything that's outside this range, it should be highlighted using conditional formatting. In column B, I've got a formula and that basically checks to see if the dates are out of range. So it checks the value of the data in column A, and if it's less than the earliest date, then it's out of range. If it's greater than the latest date, then that's also out of range. And if that's not the case in either, then the date's okay. So as before, we just highlight the cells containing the dates, control shift down. We go into conditional formatting, new tool, use the formula. We type this in the formula bar. So what that's doing is checking to see if the value of the data in cell A2, again, we have to make sure column absolute row relatives is less than the absolute value of the earliest date, or if the value in cell A2 is greater than the latest date allowed. And if that's the case, then we set a conditional formatting. Conditional formatting, we're going to use the same as before. We can use the fill of brown, and we can use the font of, as before, bold, white color. Click on OK. So now that you can see that all the outer range dates are automatically highlighted, and it's also corresponding to the value in column B for the outer range date. Now this date is actually a correct date. When you look at it, it looks correct. When you go into the formula bar, I'm just gonna zoom in on this one. But if you put a equal sign in front of the date, which is a genuine date, then Excel puts it a value of 0001 1900, which is like an out of date range, and it's incorrect. If I took off the equal sign, it's not correct. So I'll do it again. So this date is correct. If you put an equal sign in front of any date, then it becomes a fixed date of 0001 1900. That's what the Excel does. And the conditional formatting picks that up as well also. So let's change the the range of dates. So it's a smaller range. So we'll choose say 2020 for the latest date. So you're gonna now have some more dates that are out of range. So that's how you can use the power of conditional formatting to check for dates that are out of range, which you can set on a custom basis. In this last example, I've got a larger date set, and the column that contains the dates is in column B. And I applied the conditional formatting to check for error dates and text dates as before, but this time it's in column B. I've got a screenshot of the formatting rule and I place it on top of the dataset so it floats on it. So if you can quickly look at the formatting rule, the formula is checks for the error value for error dates, or it checks for the text of the date. And as before, you have to make sure that the target column is absolute and the row is relative, with the row starting from row 2. So to quickly locate and correct the dates, what we need to do is we need to apply the autofilter on your dataset after you've applied the conditional formatting. In this case, the formatting color is brown, highlighted brown, and then we click on the downward arrow for the target column, and then we filter by color, and then select the color, and you'll see all your error dates and text dates stacked on top of each other, and then you can quickly locate and correct it. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for my next video.